Never Know.
Like, is there such thing, like, do you believe in, like, right person, wrong time? Or is it, like, if it's the right person, there's never a wrong time for it?
Yeah.
And then, like, the other question is, like, because obviously it's, like, pretty selfish for him to say, like, oh, just wait 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
But, like, if someone was to be like, hey, like, yeah, you go do you, I'm going to do me. But, like, in 2 years, even if you're happy with this other person, like, you're coming back to me because that's just how it is.
Yeah.
Well, before Dr. Steve dives in, just to play devil's advocate, you can't actually accidentally fall in love because that's the name of a song in one of the Shrek movies, I believe by the Counting Crows. And they wouldn't make a song about it if it wasn't true. So just throwing that out there. Mike, I'll let you dive in.
Yeah. Hey, how are you? Papa Steve. So, yeah, I mean, pretty outlandish background story, but the notion I'm pretty familiar with, and I think it's fairly common, like, you know, young people navigating feelings and for the first time and, you know, or just like, you know, premature in their lives and they're not, men especially do not have their shit together, especially in college. And it's hard for them to understand what to do and to know. I think women are a lot more emotionally advanced than men are, especially around that age. And it is selfish of him, but at the same time, you know, there's probably validity to him, you know, not telling you. He probably didn't want you to know. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I couldn't give you the answer of how valid what he's saying is, but I can say, like, there's a lot of truth to the idea of, like, hey, like, you live your life, I'll live mine, right? How long? You said you guys had a few years where you were kind of trying to figure it out and it just didn't pan out?
Yeah, it was 2 years because it was just like him and I were in like very different situations, like long distance, all of that, and then COVID happened.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was just different.
Yeah, I mean, there's factors like those are real factors, like external factors that are a bit not in the way of, you know, what could be, but it's just the reality of things. So, I mean, my advice to you would be, it sounds like you have a pretty good understanding of where he's at. And you know, at the end of the day, like, it goes back to a lot of what we say on the podcast. If you follow along on some of those episodes and just the things that I talk about, it's kind of letting go. Like, it's letting go of trying to control things that you can't, right? So, you know, there's definitely a real truth to, you know, right now it's not necessarily working for y'all in an effortless way. It's kind of the opposite, it seems, and there's a real connection, but, you know, making it actually work logistically has been hard, you know? So I would listen to that, listen to the universe, you know, listen to your heart on it. And guess what? If 2 years go by and you haven't found somebody that makes you feel like he does and he comes back to you like he said he did, then it can't be you returning to him with a grudge or like I told you so, or him coming like that. It's almost like, hey, let's live our lives to the best of our ability individually. And at the end of the day, if it comes back together, then we know it was meant to be. But also I would argue that right now you're getting resistance from the universe in a way, you know, like things aren't necessarily panning out for you guys the way you might have hoped, you know, but it's a great quote, like, we make plans and God laughs, you know? So don't try to plan anything. Like, you don't necessarily need to go out. I mean, I was just on the line with somebody else before this, and I'm a huge believer in, like, I don't really agree with a lot of society and how, like, you're constantly kind of like searching and it feels like everyone's constantly searching and looking for the right fit versus working on yourself, trying to lead your life the best you possibly can and trusting that somebody will walk into your life at the right time. And, you know, your feelings for him, it doesn't take away from those. And it's not to say that y'all don't have a great vibe. It's just at the end of the day, it's about, you know, you can't lead your life for anybody else. You have to lead it for yourself, you know?
And take it from a couple old dogs like us who've been around the block a few times. I mean, there's people that are just meant to be in your life forever or for a long period of time, whether you don't see them for 2 years at a time. Or, I mean, there's people that are coming back around in my life after not even speaking to them for multiple years. And if it's, if it's meant to be and you guys are meant to talk to each other again, then it'll happen. It's,
Yeah.
Yeah. Do you have, what's your feelings on it? Are you upset? You're just upset that the way it's worked out? Are you mad at him? Or-
Yeah, like, I think, like, at first when everything happened, it was more of just, like, okay, but, like, do you need her, Because it's, like, if you were really that good, you wouldn't need her to put you there in that situation, So, like, it was just, like, a lot of confusion, and then it was always just, like, okay, but, like, why not me? Like, you clearly gave her a chance quicker than what you ever gave me a chance.
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just like a lot of hate towards him and just like trying to figure out where he was coming from and just, yeah.
If you feel that way in your heart, it's probably right though, Mm-hmm. A lot of times, and it's not to say that he doesn't have the right feelings for you. It's just he's not navigating them properly. And he's most young guys are like pretty selfish. They have a big ego. They don't really even realize it. I was one of those people. And
did you call him out on his bullshit?
Oh, 100%.
Good for you.
Yeah. And
that's the first step, is just being completely candid and transparent with how you feel. A lot of people keep it inside. So that's already a great first step.
Yeah. And then from there, I mean, you say your piece, and then I would, totally disconnect and start rebuilding, I know that feeling, that feeling of, I led, for a period of time after my breakup, I was kind of just like waiting around for it to correct itself and come back around. And I very, very quickly realized that was not the right way of going about it. And I was actually just like attracting a negative vibe to myself, because I was kind of like I wasn't really present. I was like waiting for the future to correct itself, Mm-hmm. And it's not the right way to go about being alive, So
yeah, I think I'm stuck in that right now.
Yeah, and that's normal. I mean, it's another common theme of what we've been saying is just like having compassion for yourself and your feelings and stuff, and it's all valid, The next step to real freedom is realizing that he deserves compassion too. He doesn't know what the hell he's doing, and he's trying to figure it out. Between in this situation, I would say a lot of that sounds kind of ridiculous, like what he said,
Mm-hmm.
But maybe there is, I don't know, maybe there's validity to that, I don't know. But regardless, like, he's following his instinct on it, and whether it's wrong or right for you, over time, I realized it's a one-player game, I kind of realized that and like set her free as well. I was just like, there's a lot of things that I may have done wrong too, and you send them off with like grace, and usually they come right back around if they're meant to, And that's really what it takes, is like trusting in life, and that's where most people block themselves. They're not trusting in life. They're not trusting in themselves. They feel like they need somebody else to make everything okay. And trust me, everyone's here for a reason, and the people in your life are in your life for a reason. The things that happen in your life are there for a reason. And once you believe that, it makes navigating this shit so much easier. Hard things have come up in my life since then, and I've fucking walked. I had a lyric. I was like, I forget what song it was, but nowadays I walk. What I say? Nowadays I walk over things I used to trip on.
Yeah.
And I just that's something that really resonated. That's how I feel completely. Like, you can get to a point internally where hardships come, and you're able to acknowledge that, hey, this is happening for a reason, and it makes it a little easier to get through those times.